So I'll be talking about code without permission, or better still, maybe let's call it build without permission. Who plays football here? Okay. Wow. Who is the Manchester United fan here? Okay, so we're good. I grew up in a place, in a beautiful place called Jos, and we used to play a lot of football when we were young. Now, what happened was we had this semi-abandoned building in the neighborhood. You know these abandoned buildings in your community where there's always a myth around it. And in this abandoned building, people will tell you that no one has ever stepped into the house and come out. They tell that they hear sounds in the night coming from it. And to make it even more interesting, it was like this face me, I face you building. And it was 7 rooms, so 7 windows. And people were like, it's spiritual. It's the 7 windows that caused the last people to leave or whatever. Anyway, we had never seen anyone go into that building. The myth was just there. Coming back from school, just playing with football, and the ball goes into the house. Who will go get the ball in this mythical house that if you go in, no one comes out? So, is this newer person who just packed into the community, started coming to school with us, didn't know, like just rushing, like, don't go. He just goes in, a few minutes later, comes out with the ball. Okay. Someone has gone in and come out. Then, actually, it means that we've all been living, should I call it a lie? It's what everyone has been telling us that we've been believing. None of us knew that wasn't the truth. No one is dying. It's like they say Zuma Rock in Abuja. They say it swallows people. I don't know, but I'm definitely not going to be the person to test it out. Maybe you can. Because maybe one day you go to an actual house that swallows people or people don't come out. But what's the lesson here? The lesson is the fact that as builders, you always come across what I call gatekeepers, and basically like the whole concept of gatekeeping, which is when you speak to someone in an industry about a problem, what they tell you is, hey, it's impossible. It cannot work. Because people have different motivations for saying different things. Sometimes as well, because that person has been doing that for a really long time, that's the way they've been programmed to think about it. Earlier, Odun mentioned, the fact that when they started PiggyVest, it wasn't that they were trying to compete with banks. I mean, banks have been there for a long time. In fact, their primary goal is they say for you to come and save with them. So it seems counterintuitive that someone now builds a savings company to fight them at the core thing that they're doing. So sometimes it's that ignorance that you do not know as much as what is happening there, and you go in with that courage to build. I'm a Bitcoin person. I love Bitcoin. Everyone knows that that's what I would do, and that's what I'll be doing for the rest of my life. The idea of Bitcoin, I love it because it just, every form of money that we've used, historically has always been issued by someone, correct? It's either a king. For those of you who are Christians in the Bible, there's a place where Jesus says, give unto Caesar what is what? Caesar's, because on the coin is the king. But Bitcoin came with the idea money doesn't have to be issued by central banks. It can be issued by math. It can be coded. It can be built. And this person released this thing so many years ago, and today it's a global movement. Everybody's talking about it. People have attempted building similar technologies, but at one point or other, they always needed permission from someone. So we had something called e-gold, but e-gold was dependent on money in banks. Who has heard of Liberty Reserve here? Okay, it's a young room. Okay, so Liberty Reserve was like one of the OG stable coins, but you've heard of USDT. You've heard of USDT. So before USDT, there was the likes of Liberty Reserve. And what all of those currencies had in common was they always needed a banker to hold something as a promissory note or whatever. And Bitcoin just came with the whole idea that you actually don't need a single person in between, just computers doing math. To me, that's the biggest example and the strongest example of building without permission. Why am I talking to you about building without permission? Because if you try to ask for permission, there are many forms of permission here. There will always be someone trying to discourage you from doing it. But then the world gets to benefit a lot more when people build without asking for permission. When we started working on Bitnob in 2020, a few months later, who knows this guy? This guy, I think he's in prison now. Anyway, I'm here and he's there, so that's what matters to me. A few months earlier, there was a whole NSAS thing, and after shutting down bank accounts, preventing every form of fundraising, people ended up donating using Bitcoin, and they realized they couldn't stop it. And they started talking, we've got to stop this. We've got to do something. And a few months later, my biggest up, 5th February 2021, I remember that day clearly, comes out with this and says, hey, you know what? Everybody stop doing this. There were many different reactions to it. The most surprising thing for me then was I thought all of our customers were going to run away. Like, okay, my money was going to happen to my money. And we hop on this community call with them, and they kept saying, guys, figure out a way. Like, we don't care. Just figure out a way for us to keep on doing what we're doing. This is a clear form of gatekeeping and asking you to ask for permission. Yeah? And they've been telling us to ask for permission for so many years. And up to now, they're not giving anybody full permission. Now, if we had waited and kept waiting because he said no, we wouldn't have built our company. And today, he's going to prison. But sometimes, if you don't ask for the permission, you might go to prison yourself. So remember that one. But I'm encouraging you to risk it. To risk it because every one of you is unique. There's something in you that is special. But you keep thinking, I'm not the one, or okay, this person will stop me, that person will stop me. What I encourage you to do is to what? Is to start building and just see how the world reacts to it. And that's how we think about building, like a bit now. It's a question of how resilient can we be? How anti-fragile can we be? If it becomes too tough in Nigeria, do we still have a business? What? So I wake up with the thought every day that what can kill us today? Like, what's the one thing that can kill us today? And we work towards optimizing against that. So yeah, while we were fighting this guy, we were still building. We're still building. We're building on Bitcoin, building on protocols on Bitcoin, and that year we basically, demoed what was at least officially, payments across, Nigeria and the US on Lightning rails. So essentially, Lightning is, I don't want to be like the crypto people, but they have these whole things they call layer 1, layer 2, blah, blah, blah. Essentially, it's a way to pay Bitcoin instantly without having to wait for all the confirmations or whatnot. So while we were fighting for survival, we were also demonstrating the fact that there's a way to build without asking for permission. And because of the Bitcoin protocol, we're able to work with a company in the US to demonstrate this. And this is something that everyone is trying to do right now. When we built it, essentially, maybe when we're staring death in the face. And the whole thinking is that permission is optional. If there's one thing I want you to live with here is that permission is what is optional. Again, the consequences are not optional. The The permission is optional, but the consequences are not. But, but if you do this responsibly, then the world will likely, come around to it. I first got into Bitcoin in this time 2013, and I remember even as of 2018 when I talked to people about Bitcoin, like, you be a Yahoo boy or something. It was more or less like it's associated with these bad things, yeah. And today you are having banks all across the world. You're having countries. In fact, the Central Bank of Czech Republic bought $1 million worth of Bitcoin just last week. So if we had waited for everyone to say, yes, this is it, then you are late. It's almost like every idea. You're late. Right now, we're all talking AI. Because there's consensus. But there are some people who have been building and working on it way before it was cool and before it made sense. So this permission is optional. We need you to build and build out. If you believe in something, you want to see it happen, I think now with technology, you have a lot of power in your hands to make it happen. One of my favorite books that I recommend you read is called The Sovereign Individual. The last edition was written in, I think, 99, and it basically predicted a lot of things that are happening in the world right now, including cryptocurrencies. And not like it's like, oh, there will be this and that. It's essentially said there will be the things that are happening will happen right now. And one of the things it spoke about that will give the rise of, crypto and whatnot is the fact that essentially the state is violent. The police is violent, the army is violent, and whatnot, and they will always try to repress you. But with that repression is that a lot of people will be looking for individual freedoms, and that's why you see people buying second passports, people doing jackpot, and just trying to find one form of freedom or the other. And this book says that, it has this quote that the logic of violence changes when individuals become sovereign. It's interesting today that you see things happening in the society and you expect someone to say, oh, the person knows the right thing, but they can't say it because there's a politician they're depending on for their daily meal, right? Or you talk, then they call you and say, okay, come and be minister of this. Then you become the minister. Suddenly, everything is all right. The society cannot have, civil liberties, individual freedom, if we are not sovereign. So one of the ways we think about things and why we're bullish on things like Bitcoin is the fact that, oh, sorry, there are kids here, but that F-word money, right? Like people say, I want F-U money. If they can take the money away from you, then it's not an F-U money. Yeah, this is the ultimate F-U money that nobody can take away from you. Okay, so quick one. I'll just run through these and just show you a few things we've built over the past few years. So we did this. We've been, because of the protocol, we've been working with a lot of companies around the world, to build this whole new way of moving money around the world that is instant, that is cheaper, and it's essentially permissionless. We don't have to go and be begging a lot of people everywhere around the world. The fact that we have the infrastructure, it's a self-sovereign infrastructure. We can connect to anyone as equals, right? So we did this. We work with companies, across Europe, across the US, Lightspark, Bitrust, Lightning Labs, CoinConnect, Theta, to do different things. Probably, the largest Lightning node by volume that we've routed for companies around the world. And these companies include, it could be Binance, it could be Kraken, it could be whoever who is routing through money through our nodes. As we speak, this is Nigeria. This is the map. So this is Nigeria. Africa is dark. You won't see a lot of Bitcoin nodes in Nigeria. So we currently run the only fully accessible node in Nigeria right now. right here in Lagos. So essentially, it's like you're first-class citizens of the Bitcoin network. Um, then we do a lot of work when it comes to training developers across the continent. So we've done stuff in, I think this year alone, we've done maybe Burundi, Uganda, Ghana, Kenya, and a few other countries. And we're looking to do much more next year, which is, it's not just that we're building ourselves, but we are looking to empower as many African developers as possible to build without permission, to sort of take that spirit of building without permission. And our hope is that a lot of these people will end up building, very great companies or tools that are important for personal freedoms, financial freedoms for Africans. So this is what we have today. We do card issuing, we do a lot of payouts, a lot of countries. We provision stable coins and Bitcoin and Lightning wallet infrastructure. Because we are building in a way where we do not need permission, we are able to easily collaborate with a lot of companies around the world. So where the protocol is essentially I call it the partnership. So I think it was in 2022 where we sort of demoed how you move money from Cash App to Bitnob, and whatnot. And with a lot of these companies, we're still doing a lot of great work. So the protocol is the partnership. Normally, if you're starting a payments company and you wanted to have partnerships, you have to start reaching out to people. Like, okay, they say you're from Nigeria. We don't onboard people from Nigeria. We don't do this. It's Nigeria. You are bad people. You are this. And we all know that we're just suffering from things a few people do, right? Like, in fact, I don't think we have half the criminals, Russians and the Chinese or like Eastern Europe does. But that's what it is gatekeeping. So, but with technologies like this and the internet, we can start at that same level, like we can build at that same level as equals as well. So there are 5 pillars I like to think of when you talk about the new financial internet. And again, these things largely enable you to build without permission. So the first one is the truth layer, which is that Bitcoin is there. No one owns it. No one. Sorry to shade other coins, but like there's always the creator. There's Vitalik. You can say Ethereum should not do this and they don't do that. Or please, is there a Sui blockchain? People say Sui. Okay, they're not here. I'm safe. So yeah, maybe you're doing Sui and making some Chinese people rich or whatever. Essentially, this is the most neutral of them all. And then the speed layer, so everybody's talking about Lightning, talking about stable coins today, is essentially the fact that, like data, you can now move money. And at the end of the day, actually, money is just data, it's information. It's just that the speed was never this fast as it is today. The third one is the access layer, which is, we're talking about mobile phones. And these days we talk a lot about AI agents. I do think they're going to be really, really big, and that's where the human interface comes in. And then the intelligence layer, there's something that needs to interpret between what we as humans understand and what's happening with the computer, and that's what we have right now. It's always been there. There's one interesting thing I never thought of until AI became popular, which is that, who plays FIFA here? So you play AI mode, and they win you. They win you a lot of times. Say the truth. They win you, unless you take it to amateur level. Anyways, but it's been AI, because how did they keep winning you? It's been AI, but maybe we just never thought of it that way because it was never accessible to us. And suddenly today we all have ChatGPT. In fact, I've seen an AI company running a campaign now with encouraging people to think, because why should I think when I have ChatGPT? So this intelligence layer is very important for the new financial internet, but this is the more important layer for me, which is the impact layer. Everything you're doing somehow should tend towards bringing prosperity. It should not be a thing of taking. It should be a thing of what's the impact at the end of the day to people, what's the impact to your country, what's the impact to your continent, and of course, if you can change the world, good luck. I'll be looking forward to that. Um, so yeah, as it stands today, no one owns the internet of value. It's open to everyone. It's up to you to decide what you want to build, how you want to build it, and I encourage you to be unique in how you do it. You have to believe that you've got what it takes to do it and build it out, and we'll be here cheering you and supporting you. You are the network. You, the builders, are the network. And if there's anything the internet is showing us is that you can sit here in Lagos and outperform engineers in Silicon Valley, in Beijing, in Tokyo, and wherever. That's what, it's like this light bulb moments that you used to think that you couldn't do it, that only a certain kind of people could do it. But now it's here for us. So as you're building, you're thinking, how am I building? How can I build without permission? What is it that the world is agreeing on that I do not agree with? What's the version of the world that I want to see? Because I'll tell you, if you don't build it, someone else will build it for the version of the world that they want to see. If you don't like Twitter because of how they run the algorithm, please try and build something for us. Yeah? The protocols exist today to do all of that. I don't like MBA people, so this is from MBA people. But essentially is that, look, you have to discover what it is you want to do, code it, connect. It's very important to earn. If you can earn from it, when you earn, you improve, and then you go through that loop. So yeah, thank you very much. The most important thing I want to take here is, for us, we built our company when others were waiting for clarity, and we'll keep on building until the world catches on with us. Thank you.
Let's give Bernard a round of applause. Does anybody have any questions?
Hi, good afternoon.
Yeah, afternoon.
So I've always known Bitcoin and blockchain to be a closed ecosystem, whereas Ethereum and the rest enabling smart contracts and allowing dApps project to be built on it. So how does Bitnob actually work? What infrastructure enables the building on a closed ecosystem like Bitcoin? Is it like a layer 2 or a layer 1? So I just want to understand the infrastructure and what is possible to be built on it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So if you mean closed ecosystem, you mean that the way Ethereum makes it easy to just build applications versus the way Bitcoin tries to narrow what you can do. Is that what you're talking about?
Exactly.
Oh, okay, yeah, because I mean, like, Bitcoin is very open. Yeah, like everyone can run a node, everyone can build what they want to build. So we're not a layer 2. We're not layer 2. What we do is, one, either we expose the ability for you to build directly on things like Bitcoin, right, which is what we call the RPC. So we host like the blockchain nodes for you, do all of those things, and you can build your applications, correct? When we take an application like Lightning, which is a layer 2 on Bitcoin, what we're then doing is running all of that infrastructure and connecting with others who are running the nodes across the world to exchange value. So I will give you an analogy. Let's say you're running a traditional payments company. This is how it works. So let's say you want to start sending money. You've gotten your licenses. You want to start sending money to Nigeria. And let me call your company. Sorry, what's your name? Okay, so Oni Financial Transfers, has their license, and they want to send money to Nigeria. They've gotten everything. What you typically have to do is you find a partner in Nigeria, you pack a lot of Naira with them, because I say, somebody sending money from the US, somebody registered on your app in the US, the person gives you US dollars, correct? Now you need to pay out Naira in Nigeria. What do? You have to ensure that you have Naira with someone sitting in Nigeria. That's the traditional way. So let's assume you are doing that same thing in maybe 50 countries. It means in each of those countries, you need to have money sitting there. Does that make sense? You need to have money sitting there. And that's costly because, so let's say you take money to, forgive me, let me just say Mauritania. I don't know the last time any of you heard of Mauritania here, but let me just say Mauritania. So you keep maybe the equivalent of $100,000 in Mauritania to send money. And suddenly people are not really sending money there. Now you want to take your money and put it in Nigeria where you're seeing a lot of volumes. You have to exchange it, go back to dollars, convert back to Naira. By the time you get to Nigeria, you've lost a lot of the value. for what you're doing. And that's what companies suffer today. So when you see a cross-border payments company and they're raising $50 million, they're raising $100 million, and like, what are they going to use all this money for? It's because they need to keep liquidity in a lot of places to power those rails. Now, how are we doing it? Because things like Bitcoin and stable coins are what you call neutral assets, right? In fact, why does everyone want dollar? Like the dollar is, everyone speaks the language of the dollar. Yeah? If you go to Dubai right now, you tell them I want to give you naira, the person will look at you like, are you okay? Yeah. But if you give them dollars, they understand dollars. In fact, when you come back to Nigeria, those immigration people, when they're doing show me love, you say, I don't have naira, they'll be like, we want the foreign currency. Correct? So now, the Bitcoin that I have in Nigeria is the same Bitcoin in the US, it's the same Bitcoin in India, it's the same Bitcoin everywhere. So what we do is, instead of keeping our money in 10 different countries, we say, oh, look, okay, we have Bitcoin. We want to make a payment, say, to the US. Yeah? We find a partner in the US who is willing to take Bitcoin, and we say, hey, you know what? I want to send $1,000 worth of Bitcoin, $1,000 to a US bank account. Can you give me a quote for $1,000 in Bitcoin? And they tell that, hey, you know what? Pay me so amount in Bitcoin for that $1,000. If you pay me, I'll pay it out for you. We negotiate of course, all of that is code, is two different, systems talking to each other. Once they give us that invoice, what we call an invoice, we then pay the invoice as Bitcoin. Once they confirm that Bitcoin, then they make the payouts in the US. So what it does is that it means that you can do it for cheaper because you are not having to keep your money locked up in many different places. And that's what a lot of people are trying to do with stable coins today as well. And that's something we started like 3 years ago with Bitcoin, and we do it with stable coins as well. So suddenly, it means that as long as I can find another company anywhere in the world who is willing to take Bitcoin or stable coins and convert it into their local currency, it means I can send money to 100 countries at once versus the one where I have to go. Because think about it. Without your company now in Nigeria, do you think an American company will say, oh, you know what, we trust you, we'll keep $1 million with you? Will they do it? Not immediately. Yeah, there has to be some time. But with Bitcoin, as long as they can give you Bitcoin and you can convert it to Naira for them, they're happy to do what? Business with you. And if you decide to run with the money, you run with something very minimal, like it minimizes the risk. Because you wake up tomorrow and hear that some fintechs on your dashboard, your money is $1 million, but actually when you click withdraw, something went wrong. It will never go. Right, so that's sort of how we build.